went to see David the Good.
Welcome back. I was watching a YouTube video on cinematography and I read that shots facing upward make the subject look more dramatic, more epic. I think it actually makes my chin look kind of weak. A couple of days ago I got the chance to go to the beach and I took a hike with one of my sons and we went along. There had been a bit of a storm that came through and I thought, well, let's go hunt through the driftwood, see if we can find some old pairs of goggles, see if I can maybe get some driftwood to frame some of my paintings. And we just kind of, you wander along the beach and you look for the debris. You get the trash cast off by civilization, but you also get all kinds of interesting drift seeds and other things. Well, as we went along, we went back into the jungle and decided to hike up top of the ridge. And I found some interesting plants and I thought I'd bring them home, but I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with them, but I figure I'll show you the plants first. Let's go take a look. First, what we have here is an epiphyte, also known as an air plant. And if you know what pineapples look like, then this is a pretty familiar shape to you. This is not a pineapple, but it is a bromeliad. And it grows up in trees. And we are going to do something interesting with it. Here's another pair of them. You'll sometimes see these things put into seashells and refrigerator magnets and that sort of thing, and you keep them alive for a while and then they die on your fridge and you feel kind of guilty, but you don't want to throw it out because your mom gave it to you. That's these plants. Another cool thing I found multiple communities of orchids. This is a wild orchid. Wild orchid. See those distinctive orchid roots there? This is a wild orchid. I actually found one of them blooming. It has a large white flower about that big across with a couple of very pretty side petals coming down in the front. I can't identify it. I tried to find pictures online and I didn't have my camera with me when I was out. But there were some orchids that had fallen off the trees down to the forest floor, and I was able to get this one and this one. There's a little baby one. They're kind of connected there. We've got some orchids. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with those in a minute here. And then we got this. This is, I believe, some sort of a frangipani. For those of you who live in Florida, you're familiar with frangipani trees, but the leaves on this look a little different, so I'm guessing it's some sort of wild form or escaped form. I have no idea, but I thought, well, I'll bring it home and plant it and see what it does. Found this little one growing there and broke off a piece, and these are usually very easy to start from cuttings, so we've got that. And then, the coup de grace, my son found this on the beach. This is some sort of a barrel cactus, I believe, and it had washed up on the shore, probably torn off and thrown into the ocean by a storm. I don't know if it's going to live because it probably soaked up quite a bit of seawater, but we rinsed it off well and then planted it in this gritty mix of soil that's high draining, and there's a bunch of gravel in the bottom here. So we'll see if it lives. It's his project, and it's really kind of a cool looking cactus. He was excited to find it. Now let's go and do something with these things. This mango tree right here is growing alongside the driveway, which seems to me to be a nice place to plant an orchid. And the orchids were growing into some rough bark on the trees out in the woods, so I think this rough spot right here where a limb was taken off would be a good place to put an orchid. I have never done this before, so if I'm totally doing it wrong and you're some sort of like an orchid expert or something, feel free to say, David the Good, you're totally doing this wrong, and I'm some sort of orchid expert or something. And I'll say, thank you very much, orchid expert. What did I do wrong? And you'll say, well, the angle of that should have been more of a 15-degree. And your binding looks like it should have had a torsal strength of 13%. And then I'll say, thank you very much. And then I won't do it because I won't understand what you're talking about. But I think this jute twine will give this thing a little bit of a head start while it ties its, it'll grow its roots back up into the tree, and it'll be nicely fertilized by the fumes of passing aircraft. There, grow. Probably should give it some compost tea. Drink this, you epiphyte! There we go. Yeah, looking good. I think right here at the Y would be a good spot to put another epiphyte. Isn't that scenic? Look at that. Let's throw some compost tea on it. I've got another orchid. I will tie it right there. Let's do that. A little weenie one. Look at that. Isn't that cute? Suitable for framing. Stay on the tree. There we go. We'll see how they do. It's kind of fun harvesting plants from the wild, but I have a few rules of thumb because I am a very responsible person, incredibly responsible person. And so if I go out in the woods and I see a plant and I think, man, I would really like to bring that home, but I see that that's the only one there, I don't touch it. I remember where it is, and I will come back in the future possibly to take some cuttings or to take some seeds, but I'm not going to dig that plant up and bring it home. When it comes to harvesting orchids, that sort of thing, I see a whole bunch of orchids. I know they're not a protected species because so far as I know there's nothing like that here, at least where I was. And so, I go and I see a whole ton of them. I see them falling on the ground. I see them all over the sides of the tree. I said, okay, I could take some of these and not worry about it. They're obviously a healthy community, and so I'm just going to help myself and take some while I'm out on my walk. And if you find stuff broken off and falling on the ground, pieces of cactus or whatever else, okay, no problem. I mean, cactuses reproduce that way. If you know that you're in an unstable natural environment to go and dig things up, or if you're in a park where obviously you're not allowed to do that or whatever else, then you probably shouldn't. But I feel like if you're taking bits and pieces of cuttings or taking seeds or whatever else from the wild and reproducing species and planting them on your own homestead, you are helping that plant reproduce. You are increasing the amount of that plant that still exists on planet Earth. And realistically speaking, most things that you're going to find and harvest are not anywhere near rare. You may just not have them on your property yet. I've dug up sumacs and transplanted blackberries and done things like that. It's like you're really not going to have any kind of a negative effect doing that sort of thing. Now if you go to the botanical garden and you stuff your pockets, shame on you. You're a terrible person. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe and catch me on the web at thesurvivalgardener.com. And until next time, may your thumbs always be green. Wild orchids couldn't drag me away. Drink this, you epiphyte!